May I ask what course this is?
Theater!
Oh.
What if I told you that theater is one of the most powerful tools for social and political change? Theater is statecraft. Statecraft is theater. Homework. Find a play. I'll select one that suits our purposes. We will read it out loud, discuss, dissect. And for those of you still bristling with confusion and or resentment, I don't care. Tell me.
Hello, and I'm back, everyone. Good evening. Star Trek Starfleet Academy, Season 1, Episode 8, The Life of the Stars is over, but here on Live Long and Podcast, we're just getting started. Whether you're joining us live on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, or catching the audio version wherever you get your podcasts, welcome aboard. We're now eight episodes in of this 10-episode season. And this time, I don't know, healing, reflection, emotional costs, all kinds of things that we're enduring here. Trauma, theater, and pushing these cadets to confront their feelings. Meanwhile, one cadet faces a challenge so unexpected and profound that it may change the course of her life forever. Well, we'll see. This is your captain speaking, a man who knows that sometimes the hardest mission isn't out there among the stars, but inside your own heart. Or inside your own holographic matrix, if you will. I'm Dave Mader, but I'm not alone. We've assembled a stellar panel here tonight. Coming in first, he's watching how the show handles the emotional recovery, the messy, non-linear process of healing, and the way trauma shapes future leaders. If the episode treats those themes with honesty, Adam's on board, but it better be entertaining. It's Adam Woodward.
Hello. That was quite the episode, yeah.
It really was. It really was. We'll get into it in a moment. Let's introduce our next panelist, the man who's been keeping the ship running while I've been off in curling games the last, 3 weeks, I think. I haven't been able to be on this podcast. Our chief engineer of analysis, breaking down the instructor's unconventional methods, the psychological mechanics behind them, and whether the cadets' breakthroughs feel earned in this 32nd century. It's Chris Worldmind Murphy.
I stand relieved of duty, sir.
Well, it takes a village, as they say. But thanks for keeping things going while I was busy losing a lot of curling games. On the other side of things. Yes, we are talking about Starfleet Academy, Season 1, Episode 8, The Life of the Stars. Of course, the eighth episode overall of this show that came out today, February 26, 2026, written by creator Gaia Violo and Jane Maggs, and directed, as was last week, by Andy Armaganian. So there's... What can we say about this episode, everyone? Chris, I want to start with you.
Do I detect a hint of detest in this episode?
Well, I don't want to give it away.
I'm honestly a little shocked because I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. I honestly think this is probably the best episode of the season so far, and I don't know about you guys, but I was nothing but emotions for the last half of the episode. Like my face was not dry. So yeah.
Well, okay. And Adam, how do you feel about this?
So there's a comment in the chat right away here about ugly crying, and I was reading some stuff about this episode, and a lot of people are feeling this way. I, in fact, did not ugly cry. No, it was just a bloody boring episode to me.
I am with Adam.
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm in an uphill battle today.
I'm not against emotional episodes.
Me neither, actually. I like them.
This one did not.
He's gone.
Yeah, it's like right away. How dare you? It didn't work for me mostly at all. I think Robert Picardo, he's a fantastic actor, and I think he does a good performance in this episode. I'm not going to take anything away from that. But I don't know. There was like some good conceptual ideas behind this episode. I just don't feel like the execution was quite what I wanted. I felt like it was really dragging. I kept looking, I'm like, this is an hour?
Yeah, it felt a lot longer, didn't it?
It felt a lot longer. Like, you know how there was this whole thing about inside of what's the planet called that Sam's from? The Korwa Cask. You know how every, like, I guess day on Earth is like a year or something on their planet or something like that. That's how the episode felt. Every 10 minutes for me was kind of really dragging. There's basically two plots in this episode. There's the plot with Tarima coming back from Beta Z after her extended issues with, like, after she did her Phoenix thing, and like I don't even know how long ago that was, like 3 episodes ago, and 2 episodes ago. And the other plot line is Sam, who's having basically a Matrix breakdown, holographic issues with her program, and the Doctor and Captain Aki have to take her to her planet of Cask. But yeah, and then they have to fix her, but then that requires the Doctor to basically raise her in like this accelerated timeline, so that she'll be able to deal with the trauma she's experienced as a cadet,
because she gets firsthand experience as a kid, and that makes sense. I didn't mind the story. I just didn't like it. Sorry, that's a
didn't like the hyperbolic time chamber.
Yeah,
it wasn't even like the mechanics of what happened was an issue for me. It was just I guess the execution of it really felt long. I wasn't invested enough in it. I thought that the storyline with Tarima, that really didn't work for me.
She's like, I wasn't a big fan of that. Like, I'll admit, when I first started this episode, I'm like, oh, is this going to be a 10 episode? Is this going to be the first 10 episode for me? And the Tarima storyline, ultimately, it felt self-centered and self-inflicted because she was acting like people were looking at her weird when nobody was really looking at her weird and stuff like that. Like, it was all just like, it was okay. The whole thing was like, trauma. It was a big trauma therapy episode,
Mm-hmm.
And I think for a lot of people that connected deep, and that's why they're giving it big praise. And maybe you guys just don't have enough trauma in your lives.
Maybe I don't have enough trauma. I think I have my fair share of it. But I don't know. It depends what you can what that is. I don't know. Like, this is definitely like a theme of, I guess, the younger generation, like younger than me. I'm a millennial, an elder millennial, almost a Gen Xer. But I have a 23-year-old son, and I just feel like with the Zoomers and the Alphas, like, I don't know, like maybe because they didn't grow up quite as harsh as we did, where adults were a little bit more dismissive of our feelings. That and maybe they were raised with a little bit more compassion and understanding that by the time they are adults, they don't necessarily have all the tools to deal with like what's expected of them in adult life, because they're a little more sheltered, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And and they don't have that trauma that we do from growing up in the 80s and the 90s and 70s in some cases. In one case, but that's what do you guys think?
Well, I mean, I think the show highlighted, the resiliency that the youth face to sort of. I think what it ultimately is that, and not a lot of people are enjoying this because they're like, it's not Star Trek, but we're always looking at the final product of what Starfleet does, and this is very much showing the many facets of what it requires to build team trust and stuff like that. And I guess we're going to they're very human reactions to a lot of the scenarios they're putting themselves in, and I think maybe that's also sort of a factor in what could be a detriment in the show, is that a lot of the characters feel human, aside from like Jaden, who's the Klingon, but even the alien characters and like Genesis and Daryl,
and
they just
they don't feel alien at all, do they?
Yeah, they just feel like humans, and like even Genesis feels predominantly human with some face makeup that. So it's just sort of easy to just not feel like we're in Star Trek, especially when they use the same set over, and that was sort of another flaw in this episode, is when we do go to Cask and we do get this like where Sam's gonna see, they just like we're just back on the ship set, and I hate that trope, and it's stuff like that like I dinged points for in this episode.
Yeah, like I it's to save money, I guess, but
yeah. But the whole like the whole finding the ability to love again, and after thousands of years and countless relationships ended, and I admit that the Doctor's whole like, it's just this one specific episode, and my one daughter, sorry, no, not the time. Sorry. It's just this one specific episode, and like my daughter and stuff like that, from the Voyager, and it's like, well, you've got all this found family over the thousands of years, the Voyager crew, the Prodigy crew. They could have leaned more on his family in that sense, as opposed to just the like holographic, oh, you reminded me of my daughter that I spent a few months with on the holodeck.
If that, like,
yeah.
like I remember the episode, of course, but like that would, I'm with you. I agree completely that if he was going to talk about all the people he's lost over 900 years, the real people, like, I'm not saying that, like, I guess he's a hologram and maybe he had more attachments, but what about the holographic wife and holographic son he never talked to again either? He seemed okay never with that. It's just like I would have thought like the real connections, the real relationships, like Janeway and the rest. That
he could have been like, I've made so many connections with so many people, I can't find it within my being to do it all over again, and he's living that like begrudged, I'm a tired old man, I can't give my heart out life anymore, and I reciprocate with that. I understand that feeling. I'm almost 40 in a few weeks, and I also feel the sense of not wanting to find love again and all that stuff. So like, I think those messages were striking a chord with me in the last half of this episode, because it was all like, it's best to live in the moment, and it's best to find community with the people that you have in those moments and learn to love again. And don't be afraid to do that, because that's how we survive all the chaos around us, including that of the stars. And I think that message was hitting hard for me. And that's what was like the big emotional string for me. And just like, as some people said, ugly cried for the last half hour. And I don't know, maybe you guys might have missed that. I'm not sure. But
No, I don't think I missed it. I felt like this is where they're going with the Doctor's character in this season, and I said, like, I don't feel like the idea of the episode's as bad as, like, I guess the execution of it in some places for me. I feel like this could have been a 45-minute episode instead of an hour. So if you could tighten up this story a bit more, maybe it works a bit better. I think, like, drawing on more of the Doctor's past would have worked better for me too. There was something else.
They could have, the whole episode could have just been Aki, the Doctor, and Sam going to Cask and just dealing with that, and then having, you know, more reflection on the Doctor's past and history and what led him to being in that moment. And it probably would have been even a more solid episode, as opposed to just jumping back to the whole, like, Tarima storyline and making it, you know, an analogy within an analogy by doing the whole the play and stuff like that. Could have done without that, and it wasn't my favorite part of the episode, and I think, you know, ultimately it wasn't the strongest part, but, like, it's there. And I think I clung more heavily onto the Doctor and seeing more of that.
Yeah, me too.
There are things in this show though that stand out and kind of, like, irk me a little. Like,
there was
fact
moments.
that this whole school feels like it's run by 5 or 6 teachers.
Yeah, and we only care about these 5 or 6 students too.
Yeah,
you know, that's another kind of you know, issue I have so far with it. But I it was kind of nice having Tilly there, and I kind of got what she was trying to get at with, like, this.
I think they blew that. Like, her role was not her. What I remember from Discovery, she was way more fun, way more funny than this allowed her to be. Like, I think they tried.
no,
But they didn't land it.
That's Tilly. That was Tilly. She was. I would say this is a more wisdom Tilly, because
Yeah, a little more mature.
It's probably been a few years since we've seen her in Discovery. Like,
No. Let's, like, we left her on that space station where she was taking a class of students, right? And so she's definitely a teacher. She's teaching 3rd years, I guess, somewhere. That's what she was doing, right?
yeah.
But I didn't feel the same. It was the same Tilly to me, and maybe she's matured. Like, if I can just comment on this too, is, like, listen, I have no problem exploring trauma, because, like, I've always wondered, actually, you know, these Starfleet officers seen some hell of the battles and people dying and all this stuff happening, and we never really deal with it. Like, there's never really a thing that they talk about. Maybe in First Contact, I think they did it. They started to touch on it with Picard. You know, he was very impacted by his Borg experience, you know, and you know, we all know the scene very well. You know, it stops here. You know, the line is drawn, but we never get more, right? People, and so they try, and again, I appreciate it. Like, I get that part. Like, I recently went to the War Museum here in Ottawa, and there's this one section at the end where they have all these, like, you know, the soldiers come back from Europe or wherever the hell they were, and come back, and there's a section about dealing with to integrate back into society. So, like, this matters, and it just, we glosses over this, right? And even now in the United States, with all the soldiers issues they have down there with suicides and whatnot, like, it's not a discussed topic. And so I appreciate when they try. I just don't think it landed for me.
I feel the same way. Like, I love that episode, Family, that's right after Best of Both Worlds. I guess we'll be covering it in the not too distant future. And I felt like that's what last week's episode was, you know, with the reading week, and they were dealing with the trauma after the whole big blow up with Paul Giamatti and everything that happened with that. And this was like part 2 of the trauma, because we hadn't really wrapped up Tarima's storyline as it related to it. And so I don't know. By the end of it, I was just like, can we move the hell on? Like, you know, but you know, like,
I
they
feel
were
like a lot of that has been wrapped up and moved on. Like the Tarima style, I think they just, like, they've come. I don't think we're going to be revisiting Tarima's.
I'd be really happy if we did not come back to her, because I find her quite annoying.
Do you know she's Rachel Weisz's daughter?
She looks like her.
She looks exactly like Rachel
Now that you
Weisz.
say that, she is definitely, that's her for sure. Like that's like a mummy Rachel Weisz, you know, like
Right. Yeah, she's
Oh,
like the
wow.
spitting image. Are you guys frozen?
no,
I'm not. No,
Am I?
no.
no, you're not.
Oh, you are.
Did you freeze?
I like I can hear you, but I can't. You're all not moving. Can I just let me just do a quick refresh?
Yeah, well, you step out. We'll be here. Mike Elmore says last week was really kind of annoying. What kind of avoiding that trauma, and this was face the trauma. Yeah,
I didn't
Face the trauma.
and I think maybe that's they could have compressed maybe both of these episodes or the general messaging of both these episodes, because like admittedly last week's episode was a huge nothing burger to me, and yeah, I don't know. This one was better than last week's at least.
I can't even remember last week's, but I didn't like it. So
Yeah, last week's was Caleb was in the school by himself with Genesis and everyone.
Oh,
Was on
yeah,
their
yeah,
spring
that's
trip,
right. Yes.
So you know, yeah,
I-
we got our captain back.
I'm back.
You're back.
All right. Sorry about that. Well, you guys want to jump into the screenshots?
Sure.
Let's do it. Let's warp drive into this episode.
Now, first question, first nitpick. I love these gorgeous shots of, San Francisco Bay, and you can see like Alcatraz here. But do they keep the water tower here for practical purposes or for some kind of, archaeological, preservation?
Archaeological historical preservation has to be.
Okay, just
Well,
curious.
it still functions. They probably need water pressure on this thing, so maybe they need it.
They have replicators in this time. They don't even
Oh,
need
you're talking about real life, or not real life. You're talking about the show. Okay, gotcha. Sorry.
This is like the 32nd century Alcatraz, right?
I mean,
They
they
could-
have
they could-
replicators, but they could still have like tap water. You know.
They might still have old-fashioned gravity-based tap water. It's possible, but maybe not. Anyway, coming on here, like it's basically, I think it's like the doctor's log is what starts us off here. It's a little gloomy at Starfleet Academy. They're dealing with the trauma. He's talking about all the sunsets he's watched over the 900 years or so he's been around, and I don't know. It's kind of a sad, solemn sort of monologue here he gives us about all the people he's lost and the connections that have moved on. Then we have Tarima coming back here. I think it's also just explained to us that she's not going to go back to the War College. She's been transferred to Starfleet Academy, now an undeclared member. And everyone's looking at her weird. Here are examples of her feeling like people are looking at her like she's a freak, even though she saved their lives, and you think they would be very appreciative of such things. That's what she's seeing as she comes back to the school after some time away, recovering. More people apparently looking at her weirdly. She's also wearing a variant of the Academy uniform I don't think we've seen yet. I don't think I've seen this cut. She seems to have a specific version that's like it's different than the one that Genesis wears or any of the others.
Well, I think it's because she's one of the few female characters that have been on screen to show that they have an undeclared,
Undeclared, but it's just like if you like it's more of this long dress than like the one that Genesis normally wears or the other ones. But anyway, it's just a little thing I noticed. And I don't understand this transfer. Okay. Like I kind of get what they're trying to say is that, oh, well, we put you into Starfleet Academy because we want you to go into science so that you don't get too stressed out again. And you're going to kill yourself if you do what you did back, on in the nebula, right? When you saved everyone with your psychic powers. But if that's the case, is it safe for her to be in Starfleet at all, Adam? Like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me.
It's a stressful place. You're going to battle. You're going to space. Space is dangerous.
I don't think it matters if you're in the science division. Like,
No, it does not.
And she's still undeclared, so she can whatever. But they're saying like, oh, you can't be a war college kid. That's too much. And we just don't want to have to deal with that, I guess, right now. Because the war college kids are nowhere to be seen in this whole episode.
They finally got their dorms back.
Anyway, she's a little standoffish. We see here that Remy he's dealing with his trauma by bullying other kids and pushing them around and whatever and giving.
But that didn't change. He was doing that in the first episode.
Yeah, he was doing that in the beginning. So no better.
Tensions are high since the Miyazaki and all that stuff.
Yes,
and
Miyazaki.
Those tensions are leading to to ways that the current faculty can't fix. So she's gonna make a call. She's gonna call the Tilly phone.
Yeah, we need. Oh, there's only one instructor who can fix this. Tilly. Don't ask Jet Reno to do it. This is not her specialty to get people past their traumas.
You all failed. Get off my bridge.
I listen. If I had the choice between two teachers to help me with my traumas, Jet Reno would not be one of them.
That's fair.
I love Jet Reno. Don't get me wrong. Jet Reno's not there to help me through my traumas. Jet Reno's going to tell me to rub some dirt on it and move on with my life.
What about her partner, Laura Thok?
Same. Laura, they're both going to have the same, but one's going to do it with a witty quip, and the other one just going to do it with a bloodthirsty threat.
Smash you across the face. So yeah, that's true.
So I'd rather the wise ass fun Tilly way of dealing with trauma by tricking people into doing things.
Yeah, well, I would rather deal with Tilly than Jet Reno for trauma as well. Although I don't know, I guess a Counselor Troy type would be the ideal choice, but she's not around it by this time. So Anyway, so they're sent away here. We see the doctor. Yeah, they have the classroom.
Yeah, they were doing like a
Kobayashi
Maru-esque like training, which I kind of wish it was the Kobayashi Maru, just because it would have been like, oh, we made that call, but they didn't. They just did whatever training, and they're like, well, let's put them on a thing, and then they convince them all to go to the same class, which is where we get the introduction of Tilly. Right?
Yeah, and then we get this second class, and this is where Caleb finds out in the class from Genesis and Sam that Tarima is coming back to the academy, that she's going to be a roommate with Sam and Genesis as well. So
yeah, she dropped her toothbrush because she was moving things around.
Right, and that's how this is revealed. Anyway, so then she comes in, and so this is the first time Caleb and Tarima are seeing each other. I'm sure Barclay's hollow version of Diana still exists somewhere. Deanna. Okay. Yes, the goddess of empathy, if you will.
They would make a great callback if they just like brought Maria Sirtis back in like hollow form. just
I am the goddess of empathy.
That's right. Anyway, lots of cold looks here from Tarima to Caleb. He didn't send her a message for a while, but then he eventually did, but she's kind of pissed, and then she's reunited with her brother now. Anyway, whatever. She's not looking at him. She's sad. She's traumatized. She thinks people look at her weird. Then Tilly's here. First time we've seen Tilly in Star Trek Starfleet Academy.
I was excited to see Tilly.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. She looks good in the jacket. She's here to teach. She's normally on sabbatical, I guess, with the rest of the third years. Is why she's not here all the time.
The beta quadrant with the third years.
The beta quadrant. That's a big quadrant, but okay. Anyway, she's here to teach them theater, Star Trek radio theater, perhaps, and getting them all excited here. What does that have to do with being a captain? Remy says 8 out of 10 cadets ask that same question, and the other 2 become captains. So you better get with it. This is meant to be some kind of therapy. It's not really a class.
Yeah, it's a therapy class disguised as theater.
Theater.
And theater states something. What you say?
Statecraft.
Yeah, statecraft. That's it.
It was, it's definitely.
And statecraft is theater. You could change your life. I want you to change my life. You're my favorites.
Yeah, Sam was into it, and I don't know. Of course, these are all actually actors in real life, of course, and so I'm sure they were loving this. As we see Sam is absorbing all of the being an artificial life form. She can, read all of the plays at once and do all this research on drama. Similar to what Data would have done in the past. Which ones are you reading? All of them. What else here with Terima? This is where we see Sam's matrix is starting to break down, and she's got some issues, but she's kind of hiding it from Terima and her other roommate Genesis at this point.
She's hiding it from everyone, including the doctor. She went on sabbatical to get fixed, and the fix ain't fixing.
Mm-hmm. Stagecraft. So that's our teaser for the episode. Is just like Sam, something wrong with Sam, and Tarima's back. And so after the credits, it's nighttime here at the academy. Man, I would love to go to this campus. It looks amazing. Every time at night. We got the gramophones going. We got this is the scene where we get Captain Aki having a drink, a hard liquor drink, if you will, with Tilly and Jet Reno. We get this first on-screen reunion between Jet Reno and Tilly since Discovery, which was nice. They're not only did they come from the same ship, but they're orphans in time, right? They're from the 23rd century, the two of them, right? So they definitely
know how to deal with the trauma.
They know how to deal with trauma.
Like, how did you guys deal with losing everything? And they're like, Starfleet, both in unison. Just like Starfleet.
Well, for them, it would definitely be especially the Klingon War, that they both were veterans of. That would be a big part of their
the
trauma.
Klingon War.
And the consistent loss of people and crew members,
Yeah, they went through some stuff. So they definitely got this connection here. So I don't know. They're talking about what to do over some scotch or whatever the hell they're drinking.
It's a high proof whiskey. So the Hall apparently went out with the burn, and as it should.
Yeah. So AJ was excited for Tilly. He said, "Woo, Tilly, woo." Anyway, they're pouring drinks. They're talking about it, we explained that they're trying to help the students who are definitely, got this out here. So Tilly's kind of being tasked with trying to help here, trying to, help them deal with the trauma through her class. Is there anything else in this scene that I'm forgetting?
Go get him, Tiger.
Go get him, Tiger. Yeah. Cheers and let's get at it. So after that scene, we get here. This is the first time Caleb and Terima talk to each other, where she won't even talk or look at him right away. And then he goes, "Will you look at me?" And then she goes, "What am I looking for?" or something. It's pretty cold. And then she just kind of walks away.
Listen, I know we haven't talked, but is there anything I do to help and all that stuff? And admittedly, a lot of this plot was I was starting to be a little not this. I just wanted to, I don't know. I was falling flat at this moment, but it started to pick up in the show later for me. I was like, okay.
I also felt he was really trying here. The guy's trying,
Yeah,
I didn't really. He's also being respectful,
Yeah, I'm struggling with her more than with him on this whole thing. The way they're writing her. But anyway. So she doesn't want to talk to him. Then we're back in the theater class. We got Jaden doing some kind of Klingon.
Okay. For a moment, I felt hope for this.
Yeah.
Episode.
This was one of my favorite parts. When he was talking about the quadricles, I was like, It's been established in canon. Klingons have 4 testicles, and they're called quadricles. And perhaps that's why he needs the skirt for all the room. That would provide. So anyway, but that's not the play they're going to do, the Klingon opera or whatever else he was trying to pitch here. Instead, I think everyone had to pick a play. let's do this play for whatever and for this reason. But Jaden's while interesting, I guess wasn't quite what Tilly was looking for. Anyway, so
But,
then
Jaden's
Yeah.
sick, so she's like, "Oh, you quarantined your quarters. No more you."
Oh yeah, because he's sneezing and stuff. And anyway,
Yeah.
then Sam pitches her play, which is a real. Was it a real one? A real story?
Yeah, our town is.
Yeah.
I have some. We'll talk about it in fun facts.
And why she wanted it. Blah blah blah. Again, more Tarima and Caleb stuff here. And anyway, so this is the one that Tilly's down with. She's going to cast different people. But she was going to make like Genesis, like the old lady or something. Or his mother, Caleb's mother.
Yeah, Genesis was Caleb's mom, and then Sam was gonna play Emily, and Occam was the stage manager. And
the stage manager. Like,
It's a character. It's a character in the play.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like there's a character called the stage manager. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, because I don't feel like they needed one for what they were doing. Anyway, this is where Sam's matrix starts to break down. Her holographic malfunctions become more evident. She's down on the ground, and there's all this rush and panic that kind of transitions over into the medical bay, where the doctor is now trying to help her, diagnose her, whatever. But he doesn't know how to handle this. He's not a holo engineer either, but he knows all about holographic programming. And it's definitely he's at a loss at this particular time on how to help her, but her matrix is definitely coming down. Anyway, so we don't know what to help her. What do we do? And this is, I think it's eventually Sam says, "Well, take me to my planet, take me to Cask," and so that they can help me. Which
And then Aki's like, "Do you want to come back? Because, there's a chance they might not make you come back." And she's like, "Yeah, I want to come back." It's like, okay, then to make it harder for them to, deny
keep you there,
coming back and keep you there, we're gonna be your representatives from the Federation. And the doctor is reluctant, and the captain is like, "We're doing this."
Yeah, the captain's going. I thought it would have been interesting too if like they could have had both Aki and the doctor raise her, because Aki being like this semi-immortal being, why couldn't they have done that?
Because she would have been away for 2 weeks.
She was going to be.
There's no guarantee she's got 17 years left in her. Wow.
Oh, I think she's got that and then some. Because I think that her species is almost immortal. I know she's only half, but I think even if she's half immortal, she's probably going to live, I don't know, probably a few more thousand years, at least. It'd be like 2 weeks for her.
I mean, it could be 2 weeks for everyone outside the bubble. Like, sure, it's a hyperbolic time chamber. I get it. They could have done it that way. But then, your captain and your doctor go mysteriously missing for 2 weeks. No word, right?
Well, you could send a message, I guess. There would have been time for such things. But anyway, they don't go that route. So then she's gone. Genesis and Tarima notice that Sam is gone. They're worried about her. We see that
Big Tooley's like, she's not a hologram. No, she's a photonic being. She's made of light, but she's not a hologram. She's not like a
hologram in the same way that the doctor is. But yeah, but close. They're not completely dissimilar either. Anyway, so Tarima leaves the role of Emily, Sam leaves the role of Emily to Tarima, which Tarima was not super into.
And she left Genesis a toothbrush.
Then we're in like the theater, I guess, here to talk about the play and what they're going to do. And is this where it goes bad, or is that come after?
Everyone's like super reluctant, and Tarima is just like, "I don't want to be Emily. Why are we trying to like hide all this trauma dumping as some sort of theater play. I don't know if it was this scene or if there was. It's just like this scene and another scene, and they were almost like practically similar. So it's kind of
They're very similar. So I feel like this is part one of that same scene, where basically like this is theater therapy, right? And like, why are these characters like this? What is their motivation? And by talking about the characters, we're going to get to the heart of their own trauma. Is the intent here? Which
and they start like, okay, what do you think this character means? What do you think this character means?
Yeah, and a lot of it's about like these two characters marrying each other, and every time we do, we look at Tarima and Caleb, you know, the Romeo and Juliet of this story.
Who's that behind there? There's more people in this room.
But they don't get to talk. We don't know them. Like, it doesn't matter.
They're just the background filler. They're the Boy Meets World background filler of the class.
Exactly.
You know, if they film it from a certain angle, they only have like 9 people, but it looks like there's a room full of 15 or more.
Right. Anyway, so then we come later on here to the doctor and the captain and Sam, who are on their way to Cask, and this is where Sam is talking to the both of them. Like, I think captain's asking about, like, tell us about your planet, and they talk about the time dilation thing, and the doctor talks about that planet that he visited once with Voyager that had the time dilation. I don't remember the name of the episode, but it had Daniel Day Kim. I remember that. And the doctor said, I beamed down and lived a lifetime down on the planet. False. He did not live an entire lifetime. He lived 3 years on that planet when he beamed down for 10 seconds and came back up. It was a long time, but it wasn't a lifetime. Anyway.
But he could live a brief lifetime in 3 years.
It was a brief lifetime. For a Kappa, it would be almost a lifetime.
Yeah.
Anyway, then it gets into Sam talking about wanting the doctor to be her mentor.
Can we go back something? I just want to raise something. This scene in particular, this shot, she's saying something, but she's spinning around and her mouth isn't moving. And there are way too many times throughout this show where we get these sort of really bad ADR shots where somebody's walking and they're talking and their mouth is not even close to being in sync with the dialogue that's being on screen, or often their mouth isn't even moving. And it happens often in this show to a point where it becomes distracting and it pulls me out of the episode, and I'm like, all I can think about is it, and then I'm like, wait, what did I miss? And I gotta rewind the episode. So like,
yeah,
I don't know if this is for anyone else or if they've noticed this, but for me it's a big sore thorn in this show.
I can't say I did particularly notice it, but I'm not really, like, you have more of an eye for that than I would, or an ear for it, if you will. And anyway, but the doctor, he's not here to be anybody's mentor or anybody's friend or blah, blah, blah. And he's being kind of a jerk. Cold and detached. Immortality has its burdens. The doctor has closed himself off. The captain, she's not as old as the doctor, but she's like half that. She's been around for like 500 years. She's seen people come and go. She lost a son. Like, she has trauma in her own way. But so it seems like her and the doctor would have this in common on some level too. Anyway, then Sam starts to malfunction and they put her into sleep mode. And there's a bit more conversation here between the doctor and the captain.
And yeah, it's very much like, why aren't you willing to like be her mentor?
I like the last comment in the chat there, guys.
We have trauma?
What? Yeah. I have trauma from this show.
Yeah.
Another little nitpicky thing, and I don't know, maybe this is a stylized choice, but if we go back one shot, the background window, I get it, they're in warp speed. And they're supposed to show that they're in warp speed and all that stuff. But I find often that when they do this shot, especially in the modern Trek, it's always in warp speed. It's never just chilling in space. Like, think about Wesley and Picard traveling through space. They weren't going warp speed the whole time. It was just like the gentle calming stars in the background, and I'm finding we're not getting that as much and I kind of miss that. I kind of miss that because
I miss it too. I don't care for this, but I miss the black and the stars going by like we did in the 90s.
Because like for me, like this is such a bright, distracting background that it actually underlights the characters' faces.
Yeah,
like the contrast is so off, and it just, I don't know. I miss the stars. I miss the gentle stars in the background.
The life of the stars.
Yeah,
Yes.
this moving
Apropos.
everything at warp speed, and always like, we gotta go to warp speed. We gotta instant transport there. We gotta go there. It's like okay, can we slow it down a little?
They put Windows in sleep mode. That's how it went. Yeah. Anyway, okay, let's move on to the next scene, which is Caleb gets a late night text from Tarima to come to like the foyer, and she's drunk.
The you up text.
Yeah, the you up text.
Booty call.
Yeah, Netflix and chill. Which he comes out here and she's been rocking a bottle of some wood liquor or something, and
tears of something. I think it was tears of something like that. It started with a T.
Yeah, one shot gets you drunk. 2 shots will put you in the hospital or something. And she's just swigging on it pretty hard. But anyway, she's. I don't know. What? How did you feel about this scene, Adam and Tarima?
Uncomfortable. She's been belting it back. She's now gonna come onto him. I think that they played this scene brilliantly because it could have made him a real dog and take advantage of her. But no, he walked away. Good move.
Good move. Yeah,
he did the Austin Powers thing. I can't, baby.
It's not right, baby. Yeah, that's
not right.
Yeah, she was pounding on that booze. Some of the things she's saying about how everyone thinks she's a freak and looks at her weird, and I don't know.
I think Caleb's going, "What the hell are you talking about?" But
yeah, he's very much being like, "We are all cool with you." Like everyone that's looking at her weird is like not her friend, is from the other school. And they're like, who's the new student? They weren't the ones that were being saved by her. Mm-hmm. It was the away team. Like, I get that she has some sort of self-pity grief for probably having to take life. That would make sense. But, like, a lot of this, like, woe is me. It's about me. People are looking at me weird, and it makes me feel like a freak. And it's like, yeah, do you not remember your friend Bobby died? Do you not remember that like all of your friends are dealing with the trauma of their friends dying, their teacher dying?
And then she's also got like this guy's giving her his hand out to help her, and again she's this scene she's going after him, but generally push him away.
Yeah. Then she tries to cover there's this thing with the cover the mouth, and then it tickles, and then she's sucking on his fingers, and then next thing she's sucking on his face. And she then he has to say, you're drunk. This is wrong. I can't. No, thank you. And then she gets upset with him. She's, and then I think he says something like hurting me won't make you feel better or something like that. He handles it like he comes away looking like the righteous one, I suppose. And,
she retorts, "So you're wrong because I feel fantastic." And then the end of the scene.
Yeah, and he's like, "Okay, good night," and then he walks away from her, and then she's got the ugly cry. So is it a cry for help? I don't know. What help do you need, Tarima? Anyway, then she comes back to her quarters. We got Genesis here, in the tank top. Yeah, they got. I forgot they had. The Starfleet pajamas with several variants here as well.
Dude, hang on. Can we go back just 2 shots? Have we noticed that in 1,000 years in the future they no longer have 15 pads all over the desk? It's just 1 pad now.
Just 1 big pad. Well, at least that's progress, I guess.
Yeah, that's some progress in the future.
Yeah. Anyway, I noticed that also in this episode that they're color coded by division. Like there was red ones for the command off trainees and yellow ones for Sam, and I was like, that's commitment. Anyway, so then the whole Genesis and Terima scene here in the quarters where Terima's drunk and Genesis is trying to help her get into bed, and there's this bitterness. I guess this love triangle here with Genesis, Terima, and Caleb. Is that what we're doing?
I don't like it. I'm not for it. I'm not down for Genesis and Caleb being together, or this will they won't they. I would much prefer Caleb and Terima, if anything, or Caleb not. Just like we don't need that interpersonal relationship of will they won't they. Like, bring me a new character. I'd be down with that. But if it's gonna be, it's they're making it seem like, oh, it's gonna be him and Terima until ultimately they're too irreconcilable and they can't do it, and then all of a sudden he's gonna start finding feelings for Genesis and yada yada. And I don't want that. I would prefer them just being more of a platonic friendship.
Are they like Dawson and Pacey, and they're fighting over Joey? What's going on?
Kind of feels. Well, one of the best comments I read is this is basically Betty and Veronica.
Right. The reverse of what I'm describing with Dawson and Pacey there, but I don't know, like but there's this jealousy here, and I guess like it doesn't seem like Genesis is necessarily into. I don't know what the hell they're trying to.
She's not into Caleb. She's just like, I'm just trying to study, man. People are freaking out around me, and I don't get it. It's because I got.
You know what character? Vibes. You said you wanted a new character. I want to see her dad. I want to see the admiral.
The admiral.
Yeah, like okay, this is. Like, there were so many opportunities last episode to present these, like, looming parents. Her dad, Darum's parents. We could have done that. We didn't do that. Like, there's so many things that, show me these characters. And another thing, too. Show me hall monitors. Show me other adults in the background. They don't need to be, like, just show me that there are other teachers other than, like, the 6 that there are.
We kill them if we see them. That's how the show works. We had that guy.
I don't know about you guys, but if you remember school and going through the hallways, you saw a teacher or two that even wasn't your teacher. You know,
all the time. Like, I had a lot of teachers. I tried not to know them, but they found me. Anyway, so then back to the doctor and the captain, who are, I don't know, talking about why he's such a traumatized guy, why he's so detached, talking about Sam, can they help her? Chris, if there's anything else I'm missing from this discussion, let me know. But this is right before they arrive here at what's their planet called? Quark? No. Cask. And then she's here. She knows she's at Cask, and we see that it's like this big opening in space in this asteroid belt. It's not like a standard planet, right? Like it's kind of a different kind of a world.
It's, if I had to describe this, their planet is within a dimensional time bubble, and that is looked at as a tetrahedron in space. So they're entering the tetrahedron. They're basically going through the city wall gates of their domain. We never see their planet. We just see them go through the gates.
Mike says the planet he feels is an Easter egg for the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, if you're familiar. Could be. It was interesting. Like, this was maybe more the interesting thing. I was like, okay, like, tell me more about this alien world. Tell me more about the aliens and the science fiction of it all, right?
I was like, cool. Let's see some Cask.
They made it the Academy, though. They didn't change it. And yes,
that's this is here's the thing. We go from, okay, this is really cool and interesting, and then I'm sure if you go into the next couple screenshots, we're gonna be like, boom,
back on set.
Stupid back on set trope. And I was so mad about this. I completely I was like, why do we keep going back to this stupid trope where we just go back to the set, oh, you're a human being, so we're going to put you on your home planet, or whatever you consider home, so you feel comfortable and familiar. It's like, no, just throw me on some weird ass, like, trippy set, or put it in a white void or anything. Don't just do this ham-fisted, typical trope. I'm so tired of this.
We made it black and white, Chris. What do you want? You know,
they made it black and white, and sometimes they get a little warpy with the camera lens, and there's a lot of pink petals.
There's
Look at all the pink petals.
crayons in this one, Chris.
I mean, I would prefer the crayons because that was kind of unique. You know, this is just lazy.
I thought I was not.
This was a huge point doc for me, in my opinions. Like
these photonic beings who make everything black and white for some reason.
Yeah, the photonic beings that are one light stream tree, and they gotta like log into Sam so they can do a diagnostic and basically look at her memory and be like, well, you know, let's see if you humans fucked up at all. If you physical beings, you know, potentially killed our great science project that we spent 2,000 years making. Let's see. Let's have a look at the records.
That was interesting. How long they said they spent creating her.
Yeah, took 2,000 years to create her.
Like in their time or in like our time? Like you know,
I think their time, which would probably have been like 20 years in our time.
Yeah, probably a lot less. Yeah, right. Okay. Anyway, it was some, and then they're analyzing her, but then they kind of eventually come to this conclusion that she can't be saved. There's also this thing here with the doctor where she's asking for him to hold her hand through this, and he's like, "No, I can't hold your hand."
And he just doesn't. He refuses to. Mike Elmore says this is also a connection to the play Our Town, the starting of the play beginning minimalist and no lighting. And I think that's
minimalist, but also making the play. The play was set in a play.
Yeah,
yeah. You know.
This is the analogy of an analogy of an analogy is what this episode's about. Because they're like, there's the point, you know, where we get later in the episode. It's not too far from these screenshots, but you know, everyone's like trying to reconcile. And Sam's down, and basically they're doing their diagnostic of her. She's like, they discover that she's injured, but it's not because of a physical damage. It's just she's got all these memories and she can't process it, right? So they can't fix her, so they're just gonna shut her off. Which
right, Shrek
killing her. Yeah,
yeah. We get to see a couple of the moments where he dismissed her. He's like, "I'm no one's mentor." Whatever else, and even the captain's like, really?
The layers.
Like, why did you accept a position at Starfleet Academy if you didn't want to mentor anyone? Like, it's just kind of an interesting choice for him, but maybe he wanted to get past it. Anyway, then we come back to the academy and Tilly, and she's teaching the class, and this is the scene we were alluding to earlier. This is where Terima will ultimately kind of challenge Tilly and say, like, I don't like this. You know what she's trying to do? She's trying to get us to open up about our feelings through acting. You know what? This is a ruse. Don't you see what she's doing? And
yeah,
but then
she says so. Okay, so admittedly, there's this like whole line about, you know, Emily being afraid to be the ghost girl, or Terima afraid to be Emily because Emily's a ghost girl. She doesn't want to be the ghost girl, and Terima's like, I already am the ghost girl. You know, and she has this big like monologue and freak out about being the ghost girl, and it's honestly it's well delivered, and it is like I was into it, what she was saying and stuff like that.
I really at this point I wanted to get invested in this episode, and it just didn't do it. Like I couldn't connect it.
This scene in particular, I thought was too long, and I was really just getting angry with Terima throughout it. You know, like the way she was acting.
Yeah, the whole class is into it now. They're getting into they're understanding what they need to do. They're going forward, and she's messing it up.
She's not into it. She doesn't like it.
That. Yeah, she's very self-centered in this whole thing, and they're like, "Hey, we're also hurting too." And it takes her brother to be like, "Yeah, I'm tired of pretending like we're okay. You know, right. I'm not okay. Can we like air this out, please?" And that's when they all start having like the heart-to-heart and stuff. And ultimately, Terima, I don't think she still can't quite handle it, and she ends up freaking out and walking away.
Yeah, even though Tilly tries to connect with her, and I don't know, and
yeah, Tilly's like challenging her. It's like, really, you're so afraid to face this dilemma that you're willing to just fail and walk away from this? And she's like, yes, do it. You know, like any spoiled like teenager. that, you know, can't accept that there's being wisdom put on them, and they're so right that they're just gonna begrudgingly be like, no, I'll take the bad poison pill just so that they can realize in their own manner.
Yeah. Well, Betazoid princess. What are you gonna do?
Exactly.
Anyway, so yeah, she walks out of the scene and things get awkward. Then we go back to Sam, who the doctor is pleading with the Kaskians to help. Like, you know, you can't let her die. This is unacceptable. You know, like, and they're like, well, this is what you do. Like, we thought we would send an emissary to you, and you screwed it up in 209 days. Way to go. We're shutting it down.
We spent 2,000 years, and you got her broken in less than 300 days. You voided the warranty, sir.
Yeah. So then it's okay. I guess Sam's done, but you know it won't be. We'll come back to it. Then we go back
I
to.
will admit, during this moment, I was like, I will applaud them if they end the Sam character.
If they're actually like Sam's actually done. See ya. Sorry.
We just couldn't save her, guys. The whole Sam character's done. Now you guys got to deal with this other layer of trauma now.
Yeah. Sometime later, we're back at the academy. We see Tarima. She seems to be packing to leave. Her brother's giving this voiceover saying, "Oh, I know my sister, and she's got to walk away. She's too traumatized." You know, he's telling his fellow students, his friends, the group here, it's, you know, the main characters, Jade and Caleb.
The way they all start talking about Sam in this scene, it made me think that they got the news that Sam was like offlined. Like they made it seem like she was dead, and they were like giving her like a bit of a eulogy, and they were all talking about.
That's what I thought was going on too.
Yeah, like Sam meant to them and stuff like that, and how much this play meant to them, and how much the play meant to Sam. And then Occam starts, he's like, stage manager, dark room, and he starts reading his lines and stuff, and they're like looking at him like, what are you doing? And he's like, just starts continuing the lines. And as he's reading the lines and they're doing the play, we cut back to the Doctor and the Sam.
We're back, and it's, I guess, yeah.
It's the Our Town play, but it's in space this time. And they come to the realization that she can't handle all of this memory that she's been endowed with for the past 300 days, because she doesn't know how to be resilient, because she didn't have 17 years of life. She didn't grow up. She didn't have a childhood. And I enjoyed this explanation of Sam and why her character's always been so bubbly and coy and naive and all this stuff. And they ultimately are like, well, the only way we can do that is if we give her a childhood in 17 years. And the Doctor's like, well, I guess in this particular scene, he's explaining why he was afraid to love again,
Right.
because her smile reminded him of his daughter that he lost in that one episode.
I think this was the mistake of the episode for me. Like,
Yes.
I get that's a trauma he did have, and it was real in that episode. But like, he had other connections. Like, what about Naomi
many other
Wildman?
connections.
What about 7 of 9? What about, like, you know, all these other people that would be gone,
Janeway,
but no.
even
Janeway,
Gwen
right? Like,
from Prodigy and stuff.
yeah, even all these other, and everyone else he would have met. Like that kid on that there was that kid on that time planet. He was his dad for 3 years, right? And then he got beamed up, and then he had died. Right. But the Doctor accepted it in that episode.
I think what they could have done is, you reminded me of my child, and it also reminded me of the families I've had through the generations. And then you could have had this little like montage scenery in the background and showing like
Right.
Janeway and even the Gwendolyn character from Prodigy and all the people that he's been a part of their lives, and every character has chosen family. And that would have, the emotion. Like, I was pretty teared up at this. I was pretty tearing up at this moment. But if they'd done that, I would have put me over the edge.
And hey, I'm a fan of Robert Picardo. I think he kills it in the scene, like, you know, but I feel like it could have been written better. I feel like you could have touched on some of his other relationships of the past, characters we definitely know. We know a lot about the Doctor, right? So
I agree with you. He delivered this well. I just don't think it landed in this episode. Like if it was a different story, or somehow they pulled more emotion into it, it would have been better. Because again,
it's not,
yeah,
I wouldn't say that it needs a different story, more emotion maybe. I think if the whole episode was focused Sam and them going to Cask and stuff, and they explored more of his 900 years of existence and more of his, chosen family moments, and really strung heavy on those. And they could even do the same thing with Aki, maybe it would have been more heavy strung, I guess.
I feel like we had tons of emotion. I like this cast. I like these actors. I think they're all very talented people, but sometimes the way how they're using them in some of these ways, I think could be better. That's how I'm left feeling like it's okay, but that could be a little stronger. That could be a little tighter.
I think it's a problem with that is because of the way a lot of the modern writing is they're trying to exposition all of the dialogue, and they're not really showing us when they could be showing us. They're just telling us more.
Telling us all the time.
Yeah.
But sometimes what they tell us doesn't make a lot of sense, or it's not completely satisfying.
And I think with old Trek, you would be shown stuff in a way, and you would have to think about it.
You'd have to make a leap.
Conclusion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Quantum leap.
This Quantum Leap reviews coming soon to Live Long Podcast.
Maybe one day. We'll see if he sits
ultimately,
down in
the Cask and they tell the Doctor and we can do this, but she's not going to be the same person. She's going to have the memories from prior, and she will have these new memories, but she will not be the same. Which great.
So she's gonna basically get a childhood, so she'll be able to deal with the trauma and the stress of being an academy cadet and being an adult, person,
and have a more regulated emotional output among your peers. Are we gonna get a more regular emotional Sam as opposed to a childish, nearly autistic Sam?
Yeah, we're gonna have to see how that plays out, because the after the merger, after these two memory sets get put together, we don't see a ton of her after that. But that's coming up in here. Anyway, so the Doctor's like, I'll raise her. I'll raise her for 17 years.
It'll be 2 weeks in your time, and I'll be back, no problem.
Again, Aki could have got 2. She can. Maybe she doesn't want to do 17 years. Maybe she'll forget all the other cadets by then. So she's.
You should have your kid in the in Starfleet Academy.
Well, that's the conflict of interest this creates for him and her is there too, right? So, but this is what's necessary to save her life, so there's not a lot of choice. Anyway, she's going. So anyway, they're going into basically a daycare simulator. But
it's a hyperbolic time chamber. But okay. So this whole thing was just a montage of this is your life. And
why does she start off as this little metal thing? I was confused by that.
It's an embryo, my guy.
It is?
Yeah, it's supposed to be her embryo. She's starting as an embryo and growing. She's just
That's
not
what an embryo looks like.
That's what her photonic embryo looks like.
Okay. If you say so. And
well, it makes sense. He's holding it, and then the next scene is her opening her eyes as a child.
Oh, because that's how it works. No,
it's they're this is the thing. They're montaging it. They're making it all next scene, and they're just jumping through the timeline. Which again, if they had spent, now this is the thing, they could have made this more emotionally impactful. If the whole episode was perfect screenshot, was the Doctor and Sam, we could have spent the first half of him layering with all the this is my memories, these are the people I loved, I can't sacrifice this love again, I can't do all this, to all right, I'm willing to sacrifice and love again, and then him going through it, and then you could have a whole half of him actually not just montage but showing that this is your life, like they've done in multiple Star Trek episodes in the past, and have these more weighted real moments, because again, sure, they're running in a grass field on the ship. On
that set, because
right?
It's the Star Trek stage, and they have to do everything there.
Yeah, so. They couldn't put these two in a home, that's the thing. They made it a quick highlight reel as opposed to we could.
But this could have been the best part of the episode if they had
saying. It could have.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I'm if they were yada yada, and then one day she was fine. I was like, maybe you could have cut out some of this Tarima stuff and focused more on this whole Dr. Sam bonding thing, from a child and whatever else. Anyway, we come back to the play, and they're doing the play, and
They're reading the lines, and then the lines are also like mirrored or mimicked by the montage and stuff like that. They didn't need it. They didn't need the play bit, and they could have just focused the whole episode on the Doc and Sam going to Cask and focusing on the Doc's history and tying up some loose ends regarding Voyager storylines and stuff like that through simple turn of phrases. And then they could have spent the other half of the episode, living good life moments and stuff. But
like, was it just the Doctor and Sam for those 17 years or whatever? Like, did they interact with any other people?
Like
It's like, what kind of a childhood would that be like, where you never met another person?
You're homeschooled for 17 years.
Like that would mess with you. I don't think I'd be a well-adjusted adult.
See, again,
if that was...
if they took the time to spend the last like 30 minutes of the episode showing what her 17 years like, you could have explored the world of Cask. She spent 17 years with the people of Cask and how they live their lives, and shown the world and the entire society of Cask through the lens of her growing up as a 17-year-old and the Doctor helping her grow and stuff like that.
And this is my problem. I'm like, focus more on the science fiction of it and less on, like, the emotion's fine, but you can have both. And like, this was just going pure emotion and pure, like, I don't know,
interpersonal relationships.
Interpersonal, yeah.
Yeah, and again, that's the thing with this show, I guess, because if you look back at like Roddenberry's decree for Star Trek is like there's no interpersonal relationships between crew members and stuff like that, and then they threw that out the book ages ago, and they've just been
that wasn't even true in the original series. Like how much was it Kirk and Spock and McCoy all the time, right? Anyway, but that Roddenberry was more that he didn't like the conflict. So like the fights that some of these fights that happen, I think Roddenberry wouldn't like those all the time. But and sometimes I think he would be right. Sometimes they're stupid, right? And sometimes they're earned and they're needed. So it just depends. Anyway, then Tarima comes back here at the end, and she embraces the theater class, and she's learning to heal.
Embraces her therapy. And
she's embracing therapy,
Yeah.
Anyway, and then we got Jet Reno and Tilly here looking at each other like, we did it, or Tilly did it more specifically.
Good job, Red.
Good job, Red. And I don't know, they have a little moment here, and that's that. Back, I guess this is like the 2 weeks later, because now the captain is back, unless the captain left the Doctor there and came back and got him on the shuttle there. But anyway, she's saying goodbye to Tilly, who's off to deal with the third years again in the Beta Quadrant, somewhere in the Beta Quadrant. Then we see Tarima goes up and talks to Tilly and says thank you, basically, to Tilly. I'm not going to dwell on this for too long. Thanks for helping me snap out of my whatever. And then we see Tarima, she's hanging out with the friends again, and she seems like she's moving on. She's not going to be so mopey for these next 2 episodes. Then we got the captain, who is now back on the bridge of the Athena.
Okay, pause.
Yeah.
I do like this transitionary shot because I don't know why it looks like there's an eye over the city. But I've been hearing a lot of complaints about how we never see the bridge crew and stuff like that. I would argue that they are in dry dock on Earth. They don't need a bridge crew.
Right. They don't. And only when they go out
in space that they have a bridge crew, and that makes sense. Yes. I think there's been a lot of scenes where it's just like an empty bridge and people are like, where's the bridge crew? Where's the bridge? It's like, well, to be fair, ships in dry dock don't have full.
Yeah, I get the impression whoever this bridge crew is, we met them more in the first episode and that other episode when they went out, and like they must have other jobs that they do when they're not doing that. So
the teachers.
This circles me back to my, like, I want to see more teachers and adults in the background, not just groups of students, secular or whatever, while we have the one student have a mind thought while they're slow walking through the hallways. Like, you can show that the school's a little more expansive and there's more teachers by showing the bridge crew as teachers in the background of passing shots. You don't need to do like a whole scene on them, but just showing them pantomiming that they're teaching a group of students is more than enough to present the illusion that there are multiple teachers dealing with multiple students throughout this academy, which would have such things. So like it starts, I think after 8 episodes, it's the curtain is starting to lift a bit with the illusion of how big the school is.
Even though it's the biggest set Star Trek's ever had, and that's why they use it all the time for every scene.
Which
But
is getting a bit tiresome in and of itself.
Yeah. Anyway, Sam comes back. Everyone's happy to see her. Fun looking alien. Everyone's saying hi to Sam, including her closer friends in particular. But she's a different Sam now. She's kind of like this updated version of her that has all these new memories of living with a doctor.
More regulated Sam.
Yes.
During this whole scene, we're getting this like voiceover from Captain Aki where it's like, live in the moment now. Don't be afraid to love again, and all that stuff. Find love within your community, and hope amongst the stars and stuff like that.
So kind of talking to the doctor here, and he's got a daughter now, I guess. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But he's a proud papa for the moment. Like, if he's going to allow himself to be connected to anybody, you'd think it'd be another hologram who was presumably long-lived like him.
If this was the doctor of like season 7 Voyager, he would have been super thrilled about the potential probably of raising a photonic being. But because we get the 900-year-old doctor that's seen too much of his loved ones pass, he's a little dried out. But maybe now he's going to be more not so rigid.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see if his character changes too, moving forward. Anyway, then they get this kind of final like moment of like the monologue here from Captain Aki, and it's very much the theater. The spotlight goes on to the captain.
I
kind of like
this is how Our Town ends as well. It was like,
and it almost has like the Starfleet Delta kind of almost look here to it. And anyway, that is the end of the episode. Ooh.
There was a question I think it was Big Tuller Mike asked earlier, does anybody watch the full opening sequence, the credits?
Usually not, because
I've been watching them, but this was the first time I actually skipped it.
I don't find them watchable more than one time.
I don't like the music. The sequence itself is okay. Like of the new tracks, Strange New Worlds is the only intro that I've really, really liked. Because it's so much like the original, maybe. Like Lower Decks was fine too, actually, and Prodigy was fine. But I hated the Picard intro. And Discovery one I never liked either. But I would say that Academy, as far as intros go, it's probably F tier for me. I never watch it. Even though I love the visuals of the school, I love the way and like the set and things. I just don't like that music.
Yeah,
I don't really like the growing things.
Yeah, we're growing little plants. Anyway,
okay, so you want to hear about what Our Town was about? Our Town was a 3-act play written in 1938. So they really went back in time here to find this play. But it was actually called one of the greatest American plays ever written. It presents a fictional American town of Grover's Corners between 1901 and 1913. He uses meta theatrical devices, setting the play in an actual theater where it's being performed. The main character is the stage manager of the theater who directly addresses the audience, fields questions, and fills in playing some roles. The play is performed without a set and mostly on a bare stage, with the exceptions. The actors mime actions without use of props. So anyway, it was a very important play, and now went which is interesting because they really dug deep, and I don't think there's a lot of people who know too much about this Our Town.
I don't think I've heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I don't. Now I know more than I did earlier tonight. Let me put it that way.
First time I've ever heard of it, and I want to check it out.
Yeah. The play was becomes a therapy tool. Tilly uses this to teach the theater to the class, and she uses it to help them unpack their emotions. That's for sure.
She sure does.
The title of The Life of Stars comes from a line in our town, the life of the village against the life of the stars, which mirrors the cadets' struggle to balance personal experience with their broader roles in the universe.
Yeah. Okay.
So, this episode marked a change in the tone of the series where it really leaned into introspection and healing, perhaps more than any other prior episode, making it feel like a character study, which I thought last week.
I agree with that completely. I feel like this when I watched this episode, I was like, I don't think I've seen an episode of Star Trek like this before. Like quite like this introspective.
Yeah.
When
when I was listening to you guys talking, I was thinking about other episodes that really dealt with trauma and stuff. And I still, my favorite really one that does this is Pale Moonlight from Deep Space Nine. That episode was great. And I think they're just trying it again. So
you want every episode to be like in the Pale Moonlight? Is that what you're saying?
No, a trauma episode, like where they're dealing with that.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, like there was that one after It's Not a Paper Moon with Nog, when he lost his leg.
That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
Paper Moon. Pardon me. That
Moon.
episode was just fantastic. Going back, if I didn't give that a 10, it should have got a 10.
But this episode is not as good as that episode.
No. Didn't even touch it.
Yeah. So good thing to level set ourselves on expectations. Like even think about
and family, like you said earlier, after
family is an example. Like if anything, they often, because it was a syndicated show back then, especially Next Generation, like they couldn't really, or didn't like to at least reference what they had already done.
Right.
What they were old episodes because they wanted each episode to stand alone more. But yeah, they might have gone a little far.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. We can move on to ratings, Dave.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the fun facts there, Adam. We appreciate it. All right. Well, let's get into our ratings and put a score down. So just looking at the last couple weeks. I don't know. It's been ups and downs. I think the yo-yo you referred to, Adam, in our chat earlier today. Like, could this be something? I feel like it's about to whatever. Would anyone like to go first?
I'll go first, and this is again another 5 for me. It was nothing. I will not watch this episode again.
I don't think I will either. So you liked it better than last week? No more. You're saying?
You know what? Actually, I would even give it a less because I had a higher expectation of this week coming out of last week, and this one really it was long and boring. So 4. Let me get a 4.
Okay, Chris, you were the high point on the episode. You had the most positive things to say. So
look at Chris's score last week, Dave.
You're a 4 last week?
No, look at it. He gave it a 3.
You gave it a 3.
Yeah,
so
last week's episode was a nothing burger. Last week was the worst episode. This was substantially better than last week's episode. Was it perfect? No. Did I want to give it a 10 when it started? I did. By the time I was done, I didn't. And I'm feeling it's a solid 8 for me. Yeah. I enjoyed the episode, and I was in tears for the last half of it. Like, I did not stop crying, and that's big points for me. And I don't know, maybe you guys don't have deep father trauma. I don't know.
I'll cry at stuff, man, if it gets me, but this did not get me. So
I don't know why it didn't get you. I can't.
And I'm glad it got you. I'm glad it spoke to you, and anybody else who likes it, that's great. It just didn't hit for me. So where am I with this? I've been up and down. Like I said, I think that I like these actors, and but the way this was not an episode I would ever want to watch again, either. So I'm
See,
at.
I find that funny because I've watched these episodes a couple times over each one, and I find the second viewings of these episodes are better because the first time you watch them, you have anticipations and you have like pre-notions of what you want it to be, and then when the episode's ultimately not those things, you either think it's great or you think you might be less on it, and you have disappointments with it. But if you go back and watch it again, when you watch it again, it's like you're just gonna you're watching it for what it is, and then it's I find it
I reserve to change if I ever do watch it again. Maybe I'll like it more. But today I did not. So I'm at 4. With this, I think I'm below that threshold. I liked last week's better, so we differ on that as well. But
yeah, I think Chris, I got to do that with Strange New Worlds season 3 because I didn't like most of it, but I'm going to give it another chance. But I'm not there here with this series yet.
The IMDb score at the moment is 6.4 with just 439 votes. So we can always update that later. So we're averaging a 5.3. IMDb has a 6.4. So, it's a little low. And that's it for this one. Now, just looking ahead, I think, do we have the title of next week's episode yet? No, it's not released yet. But it's directed by Jonathan Frakes. We know that. So,
guys, whatever all our scores again, can you go back, Dave?
Oh, sure.
So Chris 6.9, Dave 6.4, me 6.7. So we're all in the same little ballpark there. They really got to pull it together next 2 episodes.
Well, I got to imagine these next 2 episodes are going to be better. You got the penultimate episode and then the finale. Now, I know that Jonathan Frakes said that he did not work with Paul Giamatti. So Paul Giamatti will not be in the next episode. So that's the only thing I can say for sure.
I'm sure episode 10 is going to have some big Caleb mom cliffhanger.
Yeah, maybe he's reunited with his mom. Maybe that's the end of the season.
And his mom's going to be bad.
His mom will be bad. Absolutely. Maybe she was always bad.
Yeah, maybe she was.
That's the other thing we might learn here, right? So, and that she won't be
conflicted because he wants to go back to her. Oh my God, I can already tell the story.
And then she won't like him being in Starfleet. Maybe he leaves Starfleet to end the season. I don't know. It could be
maybe she doesn't like Starfleet because his father was Starfleet.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe she'll be twisting her mustache along Paul Giamatti. So we'll see. So look out for that.
Paul Giamatti's mustache.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had some good episodes this season, but I'm some of these have not really worked for me, and in particular these 2 Sam episodes I think have been the low points for me. Even though I like Sam as a character, but when she seems to be the feature character, it seems to lose me a bit. Anyway, that's that for this one. The Life of the Stars has found its place. You can also check out our other podcasts here on Live Long and Podcast. Every Monday right now, we are covering a new an old episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. We will be on Monday talking about the most toys with Saul Rubinek, guest appearance on that show. Season 3, episode 22. Check that one out. It's a fun one to talk about. What else? We're back on Super Mario Brothers podcast right now, covering Survivor 50. We just were on last night for the 3-hour. There was a 3-hour premiere, and then we were on for an hour and a half talking all about it. So it was a late night last night. Look out for Survivor 50 in the hands of the fans, Adam. So pretty exciting.
Glad you're enjoying it.
Yes.
This weekend, I plan to do some live streaming of Star Trek Voyager across the universe.
Oh yes, I need to get to that too.
We were graciously gifted some codes, so a lot of us are going to be playing this one and giving our honest reviews, and then we'll probably gather together in a week or two and sort of discuss the game in full.
Yes, that is on my agenda as well.
And choices, so it should be fun.
Yeah, look out for that. Yeah, a video game review. So yeah, we're very excited to talk about that one as well. Okay. Well, anything else you guys want to mention before we close it out?
You can catch me over at twitch.tv/the Worldmind. I will be playing, well, the marathon demo's out, so I'm going to be probably playing a bit of that, but you'll always catch me playing Arc Raiders there. And then also good Voyager Across the Unknown over the weekend. And I've been trying to find a third contestant for Babylon 5. So if you are watching this and you love Babylon 5, send us a DM. And maybe you can be a contestant on Trivial Debates.
Adam! It's got to be Adam.
It's got to be Adam. There's a third person I've been emailed, but they have not responded to my email. So I'm searching this global Earth out of 6 billion people for one person to talk about Babylon 5 in a debate format.
Somebody must have watched
6
it.
questions.
We live for the one, we die for the one.
Man.
Come on.
By this man here, 6 questions. He's gonna be the host, and once I can find that third person, we're gonna do that. So
We got Justin and Jeff, right? Already? Like,
you know what, Justin? I had to back out a couple times. Maybe I'll loop back to him because
Justin might be a good one.
Justin's might have to be the one because I don't know anybody else, and hopefully he's free and able to do it. Justin, if you're watching this, I'm coming for you.
We're coming for you, and we're putting you in command of the station in a Star Fury. All right. Well, look out for that. Okay. Well, thanks, everyone. We'll leave you the full version of what I played at the beginning. Look out for us next time here on Live Long and Podcast. Have a good one, everyone.
May I ask what course this is?
Theater.
Oh.
What if I told you that theater is one of the most powerful tools for social and political change? Theater is statecraft. Statecraft is theater. Homework. Find a play. I'll select one that suits our purposes. We will read it out loud, discuss, dissect. And for those of you still bristling with confusion and or resentment, I don't care. Fail the semester. So get excited, little chickens. Tomorrow, we theater.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And take a peek into the darkness with Heard Noise, Must Investigate with Michael Chan. Watch us duke it out on Trivial Debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.